Hey guys, so this video is going to be another product review and a general discussion of Cinewhoops. So what we have here is a BetaFPV 85X flip chip version. So this is basically BetaFPV jumping on the hype train that was created by God, so Tommy, of these smaller naked GoPro carrying Cinewhoops basically. So very small Cinewhoops. These are conversions of 85-95mm whoops. So this is a an existing frame that BetaFPV reused. So let's take a closer look at this sort of class of quad and how they perform and what I think about them. Alright, before we dive into it, let's do a little mini unboxing. So this thing does cost around, I think, 150 euros, $170, so it's actually pretty good value for money for an analog quad. It does come, funny thing, it does come in the original box of the non-Cinewhoop converted 85X. And the cool thing is that in this box you do get this naked GoPro kit. So it would be too nice if it came with the GoPro. It doesn't. I've put a GoPro Hero 7 in there. So it does come with this pretty nice molded plastic kit for doing a conversion. It also does come with the little backboard here. So you have everything you need to convert a GoPro Hero 6 or 7 into one of these naked GoPros. I used a 7 Black because I really like the Hypersmooth that is already integrated. I don't have to do any post-processing. So pretty cool that they include this already in the kit. I think the conversion kit itself is worth like 15 euros or dollars. So cool that it's in there. It does come with an extra set of props and extra screws and a mount for this Insta360 Go, which is also a pretty good match. It's got very good stabilization. It's only 1080p. That's the only downside compared to the GoPro. And I mean, it's not that much cheaper than a Hero 6 or 7. So I'd rather go for a GoPro, to be honest, than the Insta360 Go. But it does come with a mount for the Insta360 Go. It does, of course, also come with this 3D printed mount for the naked GoPro. So pretty nice overall package. You get a little tool here in case you need it. But basically that's what's in the box. Alright, now taking a closer look at this frame. So this is basically really following the conversion Tommy did of this frame. So it's still got this plastic frame here, which seems quite solid. I didn't manage to damage anything during my test flights, although I crashed a few times. The other one is sort of exposed here. I don't know if they did this on purpose for better cooling, but I mean, it's exposing the processor, so I mean that might be a bit of a problem, because it's really sort of exposing the electronics here. Apart from that, it looks pretty solid. You've got this carbon plate here. What I don't like is that they use only 2 motor screws. Yes, it's enough, but I mean, come on, it doesn't add that much weight, and you could just have that extra protection here from damaging the motors if you're crashing a bit harder. So XD30 connector with a little capacitor, that's all very nice and good. The camera platform here is soft mounted, which is, I mean, it's nice too. I don't know if it's fully necessary with an Insta360 Go and a GoPro Hero that already have pretty good image stabilization, but also won't hurt. So this is an analog setup. It does come with a BetaFPV camera, which I would suspect is looks like a rebranded Cadex EOS 2, maybe, or Rencam Nano 2. Not sure, but I mean, these are fine in terms of image quality. The fly is not the prettiest, but it does work. So the VTX is a 350 milliwatt VTX, which does work absolutely fine. Comes with this little antenna. There's just one thing I changed here. Let me quickly zoom in. this UFL connector here is very exposed. So that's why I added this black glue here. So it does not come with the glue holding this connector here, but this one is, I mean, this is basically bent 90 degrees, and I was really scared that this would pop off. This is why I did add a little bit of glue on the connector here, and I really recommend you do this in case you get this quad. Now this is a pretty standard, pretty basic all-in-one here. So 12 amp for S, but more than enough for this setup. Everything is totally fine here. There's nothing on this setup where I would have any concerns. This is the Crossfire version that does come with a Crossfire Nano receiver. I mean, the antenna mounting here is quite nice on the rear. In any case, for a Cinewhoop, this is going to have more than enough range. Since, I mean, they have pretty limited flight times, they're not gonna get that far away. Anyways, the motors are 1105, 5000 kV motors. I would be interesting how it performs on something with a wider stator, maybe like 1303 or even 1404s. But I think this is a pretty standard motor size here for this setup. Use the connector to power the GoPro. I think it does have some way of controlling the GoPro. There's this yellow wire plugging in, but for me, although it is pre-set up in Betaflight on this model, it didn't work. It just annoyed me, just sort of blocked my GoPro from doing anything, so I just pulled this out, and I just prefer pushing the button here. I don't see actually why I would start or stop recording during flight. I mean, it's just for me easier to push the button. I see it actually, you can nicely see it blinking green here. You know your GoPro is recording, just leave it recording. I really have no use for controlling the GoPro in any way during flight. So that's all about this setup here. To me, it looks pretty well done. I don't see, I mean, except the UFL connector here that sort of worried me that it could pop off. I don't see much of an issue. Oh, maybe one thing I realized, this the wire here powering the GoPro, I mean, this one is a little bit short. So one thing that happened to me once is that it basically unplugged the GoPro during flight when I sort of bounced off the ground. So as you can see, it's pretty short here, and if this flexes really to the front, it's pulling on the wires. You might damage this, or as it happened to me, it unplugged it. And these boards here, this connector here is really notorious for breaking off. I had to resolder this a few times already. So they should really, I mean, please add a little bit of wire, a little bit more wire here. So, but if you buy this, I really recommend you take this apart and ensure that there's just a bit more, a bit longer connector here to avoid damaging your GoPro or this connector. Alright, now about flight performance, and here I really have to say, before I say anything more, that I'm super biased because I really do not like Cinewhoops. I don't like how they fly, I don't feel in control. I know what they are meant to be used for, but it's really not doing much of, you know, close-up proximity cinematic filming. So for me, I don't really have much use for them. I'm not used to how they fly. I think you really have to practice flying Cinewhoops because they do handle so much differently. I really have a hard time flying this in a controlled way. So I can fly this in proximity and so on, but I really feel like I'm more of a passenger. I'm not 100% in control and sort of drifting around. So you really have to practice this. I don't like how inefficient all these Cinewhoops are. The flight times are short. I personally do not like them. But I think these smaller Cinewhoops are a step in the right direction. Especially since, I mean, what is a Cinewhoop made for? In my opinion, it's made for, you know, being safe. That's why it's ducted, not threatening people, so you can fly close to people. Now, the problem was with these big 3-inch Cinewhoops here, like this Flywoo Chasers, for example. This is really one of the best 3-inch Cinewhoop frames. This is a 6S version, has tons of power, it's super robust. So I've flown this for a while. Usually has a DJI Air unit in here. And Flywheel designed these ducks especially to reduce noise. That's what they told me. They really invested a lot of time to make this thing as quiet as possible. But still, these are pretty heavy setups, and you have small props spinning at very high RPM, and these things are just crazy loud. So it's really, I mean, it's, although they aren't threatening because of, you know, spinning open props, they sort of get scary because these things, I mean, especially to people who aren't used to quads flying around them, because these things make a noise from hell, basically. They are so loud and annoying. And this, while still, while it is loud for how small and light it is, by the way, let's check how much it weighs. While, I mean, it is really loud for such a small 100 grams with the GoPro. For such a small and light quad, the thing is still terribly loud compared to a 3-inch toothpick or a micro long range, especially 75 grams. It's way louder than a toothpick. It's a super annoying high-pitched noise. But it's way less loud than a big 3-inch Cinewhoops. So I think this is a good step in the right direction. It's also much smaller. This is even less threatening than a bigger Cinewhoop. This really looks toy-like. So I think this is really perfect, especially if you're doing like action shots with somebody that isn't used to have quads flying around. This is perfect. And I mean, honestly, the footage just looks the same, whether you have a GoPro on a bigger Cinewhoop or you have a naked GoPro on such a small one, really looks the same to me, at least. So I think this is a step in the right direction. The footage does look really good. I can also show you some video footage of it hovering in front of the camera, so you can get maybe an impression of the noise. It's hard to catch this on camera, but let's just go for that clip so you can get an impression of how loud or quiet this is. Alright, so that's how it sounds, and again, my conclusion on this is I think Tommy, with his development of these much smaller Cinewhoops, went really a good step in the right direction. For what these things are designed to do, they are very well, but I have to say personally it's not for me, and I don't think it's really for anybody who just flies for fun. If your purpose is not, you know, making footage of someone mountain biking, skating, or whatever you're trying to capture on video, I don't see why you would fly something like this, honestly. I mean, yes, it can be used for like roaming around and exploring because you can fly in real proximity and bump into stuff without much happening. But then again, for me, the flight time is just too short to enjoy that. Because doing that just for 2 or 3 minutes is, I don't know. And honestly, I personally feel like I can fly my micro long range in a more controlled manner in proximity. Clearly, it crashes when I touch something with the prop, but I would rather mount some sort of prop guard on a micro long range than fly one of these. But that's really just my personal opinion, and I really understand why people like these Cinewhoops and what they use them for. But I mean, if you're thinking of buying this, you should really consider what it's made for and if you are actually the target audience for that type of quad. Alright guys, I hope you found this useful and interesting, sort of my personal take on these Cinewhoops, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. There's some affiliate links below, of course. You'll support all sorts of future projects and developments I'm working on by clicking on these. Alright guys, thanks for watching.